my name's Margie. Today I am going to show you how to make this little 124 scale chaise lounge. I made it just out of tongue depressors and coffee stirrers. So you'll have everything you need around the house, a little bit of quilt batting and some leather or fabric. I've got all that explained in the tutorial as we get into it. So having said that, enjoy the tutorial.
I'm going to add this PDF for you at the end of the tutorial. It'll be under description, so when you're finished watching, you can just click on that and it will take you right to a printable PDF. The materials you're going to need are pretty basic. Some coffee stirrers, tongue depressor, 1/4 inch doweling, some fine suede or fabric. That's about it. The tools you're going to use are going to be an X-Acto knife and miter shears if you have them, pencil, ruler, scissor, paint brushes, all those basic things, some tacky glue, some sandpaper, quilt batting, some stain or paint, and some kind of clear varnish in which to finish it at the end. Now I'm going to glue the braces between the two angled side brackets, as shown. And now it's time for the upholstery. First, cut out 2 pieces of quilt batting, a little bit smaller than you want your cushion to be. Then cut out enough fabric or suede, whatever you're using, big enough to wrap the entire piece of batting in. First, make 2 slits in the end of the suede, going from the end of the piece of material up to the quilt batting. So you're making 4 small cuts. Fold those up and over the edge of the batting so you have a nice oval end, and glue that in place. Let that dry for quite a while before you move on to the next step. In the meantime, you can cut out 2 pieces of quilt batting and roll them into logs, a tiny bit smaller than what you want the bolsters to be to fit on the end of the bench. I'm going to add a little video to show you this step, but I'll describe it briefly. Basically, I'm taking the pieces on the side, they're going to fold over the back. I'm taking them and I'm going to glue just the side edges, not the back at this point, just the side edges, and you'll see what I mean in the video. And I'm going to use masking tape to clamp those together, and I'm going to let them dry good and hard. Then I am going to cut out a piece for the base of the bench. I'm not going to glue it on yet though, because I want to stain it first, and I'm going to cover the bolsters and cut out some rounds for the end of the bolsters.
Okay, so the glue has dried. I am taking off the frog tape or painter's tape or whatever you call it. And I'll show you where we're at. Ooh, that took a lot of side off, but that's okay. This is just a sample anyway. So I've actually got too much here. I don't really want it to overlap, but since it did, I'm not going to worry about it because that's not the important part. And it glued a bit too much, so I'm just going to open it up a bit. What I want down here at the end is kind of an oval shaped corner. So I'm going to cut, it's going to be hard to show you. I want to cut this in here because I want to fold it over. So I want to cut it right to the edge of the cushion, and then I want to cut it around that shaped end. So that's already glued on, so you can see where I'm getting, what I'm going for. Then I'm going to do the same to this side. I'm cutting, it looks like I'm cutting right through, but I'm just cutting right to the edge. And then up. You can do this in a couple of steps if you want to get rid of some excess. up and around. And get rid of that. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing, I hope. Now bear in mind, if you are using a leather or a fake leather or whatever that has a white inside core, you're going to see that there. So you might have to touch that up a little bit. This one doesn't bother me too much. And fabric, you probably wouldn't notice it at all. It's just some of the synthetic leathers have a white core, and it becomes pretty noticeable. So I'm going to do 2 more of those cuts. Now, there's a bit too much here, and I'll probably cut it off, but then what I would do is fold these ends in, glue them down, and you've got a nice cushion with a nice round end that's going to fit right in that bench, just like so. So that was using 2 pieces of quilt batting, so if you wanted it thicker, I don't think you would, but if you did, you could just add another one. Before I put this together, I think I'm going to put a piece of, I did on the other one, put a piece of suede on here and glue it down, but I'm honestly not sure if that's necessary. I think it's fine just like this. So if you, that could be your choice. But honestly, and in fact, a real one would not have that. So that's something to consider. And I do like making things the way they are originally made in real life. So there you go. There you have it.
I use basically the same process for painting all of my furniture. It's a combination of black, brown, orange, yellow, white, just depending on what shade I want it. This particular one I did brown with quite a bit of yellow and orange, not too much white. And I thin it down with water, and that will create a stain-like appearance. And I do generally do a number of coats, and I'll often vary the shade in between coats. Not a lot, just a little bit, and that gives it a bit of depth. In this particular one, I did not paint the legs on purpose because I wanted to paint them black at the end. I also, once it's completely dry, I will give it a coat of varnish, and then I will sand it very lightly with a fine sandpaper, and I'll do that 3 or 4 times.